welcome to the long-awaited return of Get to the Cheddar with myself, Matt Bourne, and sitting next to me virtually, or that side, depending on which way this flips, my my Bible of knowledge of all things action films and everything, Mr. Malcolm Martin. So, hello, Malcolm. Welcome back, and here we are in a
We
change to the
meet again,
line.
Mr. Bourne. It does seem a long time, mate. And I
Yeah.
thought we should have something special. You and I bounced back and forward about what we were going to make our big comeback with. And
Mm.
then I'm amazed because, I mean, I'm flattered by what you said, but I know your cinematic knowledge as well. And then I took your cinematic cherry for Enter the Ninja. You said, I've never seen it. So it was great for me to know that it would be the first time you're watching it. So just a bit of background on it for you. We all know about Canon. We love it. They're the bedrock of Get to the Cheddar. And the boys were really looking to cash in on the martial arts boom that started in 73, 74 with Bruce Lee and was carrying on. But they were astute enough to realize that it was all Chinese style martial arts, all Bruce Lee style. So they wanted to do this ninja thing with the Japanese background and the Japanese core. And Mike Stone, a teammate of Chuck Norris in the Great American Karate Team that included Bill Wallace, Bob Wall, incredible team at the time, had written a spec script that they liked. And they were going to use him. It was going to be Mike Stone as the ninja, as Cole. But he failed his screen test. They didn't like it. And they were filming in Manila. And Franco Nero happened to be on holiday in Manila at the time. So they kept Mike on to dub him because Franco he could speak English, but he couldn't do a Texan American accent. He did the choreography and he stunt doubled for virtually everything that Franco Nero did. He's also later become famous for the fact that the reason Elvis and Priscilla split up was she was seeing Mike Stone. So he became infamous in that respect. But Matt, I'm going to set the tone for this one because I know your thoughts on this one is once you've seen the movie, what must Mike Stone's edition have been to have failed it?
Well,
That's all I'm going to say.
yeah, how do you fail a Canon screen test? I mean, seriously, what could he act? I don't know. Something must have seriously gone wrong. Um, seeing Enter the Ninja. For those of you who haven't figured it out yet, we're doing Enter the Ninja. Um, it, I don't know where to start. Well, let's start at the very beginning, I suppose. So we have Enter the Ninja, starring Frank Nero, Susan George, and the inimitable Shok Kosugi. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a ninja film set in the Philippines. So already I'm confused because he does ninja training in the Philippines. I don't remember there being a large output of ninjas from Philippines. I'm fairly certain they came from Japan. Sho Kosugi's character is a samurai who wants to do ninjutsu. Now, those of you who know your feudal Japan stuff, the they looked down on the ninjas. They thought they were like, the little local sort of dirty, scummy kind of, go and knife someone in the back kind of people. So they weren't seen with a lot of respect. So that alone is a bit bizarre why he would go from samurai to ninja. It just does not make sense whatsoever. Mind you, Canon were never good for detail anyway, so we'd probably leave that. But I want to start with the opening of this film. The film opens with Frank Nero in his white pajamas, which again is, obviously he's a serious ninja because he's not in black. He is in white. So he's in the Philippine jungles, which we're not told of the Philippines, which is a random jungle. He is running through a jungle in white. Now, I understand that this was done for cinematic thing to make him stand out on the background, but it's not good camouflage. White in the middle of a jungle. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And he's also being hunted by ninjas who are dressed in red. Also, against a green background, they kind of stand out a lot and they're jumping down off trees. And Franco Nero, who does an amazing amount of eye acting in this film, I mean, that's literally all he does. He
That's to
does eye
make sure
acting.
we all know it's him. That
Of
I
course,
mean,
it's
how
him.
many times do we see those close-ups in the opening 5 minutes? Those sky blue eyes that made
Yeah.
Franco Nero a star. And it's to tell us repeatedly that everything you're going to see is Franco.
Yeah,
Except the only things that actually is Franco is those
is the
bright
eyes.
blue eyes.
Yeah, so he's getting jumped on by ninjas out of trees who land and then sort of pull out their weapon. I mean, surely you'd have your weapon out before you jumped, but what do I know? I'm not a ninja, clearly. Although I have got the hood. Let's see. I was gonna do the whole mask thing, but I thought it was a bit much.
There's a
So
Franco vibe going on, Matt.
yeah, exactly. Obviously I've got that Italian thing
It's
going on.
the eyes.
So yeah, every time they jump down off a tree, he just turns around and slices the throats or stabs them up or whatever, and then he keeps doing the ninja run. You know that thing where they do the pretending they've got a sword and they do this really kind of quick run through the trees. There's a lot of that going on in this first 5 minutes. Now, in the first 5 minutes, he's doing people left, right, and centre. They're falling like flies. All these guys in the red suits, and then he runs to this giant dojo, big house, bungalow, dojo, Japanese looking thing in the middle of the Philippines. Here we go again. Anyway, he gets there. It turns out it's his mentor who's training him, and or the not the person who's training him. He gets there, so he's just killed a whole bunch of people who are training at the same place. I mean, that's a bit rough, I've got to say.
And
If
he
you wear
cuts
a
his
red suit,
mentor's head off.
yeah. Yeah, that's a bit much, I think. If you're going for a training weekend, you might end up dead. I mean, it's very much the red suit from Star Trek thing. If you're in a red suit, you're probably going to end up dead. So, yeah, so that's the opening.
But Matt, here's the twist. Don't forget, when they all get into the dojo, it's basically a glorified game of paintball. He's killed none of them. It's a test. It's not for
Yeah,
real. And one of the things that makes me laugh is they make a great pains of showing you one of the ninjas taking out a board from his chest to protect him. Sat next to him is a guy with a huge scar across his eye and nose and mouth. Now, if it's all false and if it's all a game, how long did he take painting that on
yeah,
to
exactly.
say, look, I've got a scar? So we're led to believe that all those strikes, all those cuts, all that blood was fake. And it's just a test that he's passed with flying colors to become a master ninja, not just a
Master Ninja.
ninja.
Yeah, I didn't realize there were levels in Ninja, but there you go. I thought you were just a ninja, but clearly not. There are Master Ninjas. Now, sitting around the table while they're all having a chat, is Hasegawa, as they keep saying, who is played by Shok Kosugi, the big star of this film. We'll get on to him later. But so he's sitting there, and they're all having a pleasant chat, and all of a sudden he just flips, has a row, and storms off. I'm like, what happened there? They were just drinking tea. Next thing you know, they're arguing because he can't be a ninja because he's not from Japan, but they're all in the Philippines. So again, canon logic. Yeah,
But the great thing is, after that, when his master apologizes, they're having this wonderful long walk in the grounds. And he says to him, basically, don't forget you're a ninja, so be a really nice bloke and don't kill anyone. Now, the whole point of the ninja clan was they were assassins for hire. And
exactly.
as his gaffer says goodbye, it's right, don't forget, be a nice chap, don't hurt anyone, don't let us down. I thought, wasn't it meant to be the opposite? I want to hear how many people you've killed in the next month and how well you've done without being discovered in your white suit with your deep blue eyes. Instead, he sends him off that way with an apology about Shok Kosugi's being a genuine ninja. I mean, and then Matt, the film and the wonderful plot starts proper.
Well, just before we get to the proper plot, this was probably my favorite part of the movie. I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but this, I mean, literally, I, I fell off my seat laughing. Seriously, it's the opening credits. The opening, because it cuts to the opening credits, and you've got the opening credits, and you've got what I presume is Shok Kosugi or somebody as in the Black Ninja outfit, and the credits are rolling, and they're doing all these moves with all the individual ninja weapons. hooks, chain sticks, all this kind of stuff. They're doing all these moves, looking really cool on camera, you know, Shok Kosugi, Enter the Ninja, directed by, all this kind of stuff, right? And it's playing on, I'm going, this is pretty cool. Yeah, I see what they're doing there. They're building the whole ninja thing. Then right at the end of the credits, and I mean, right at the end of the credits, out of nowhere, it was directed by, and in an entirely Pink Panther moment, this, well, Frank Nero in his white ninja suit comes flying across the screen and just kicks the black ninja dude in the face who goes and falls off screen. I mean, the kick doesn't even connect. It's done in slow mo. You can see a 5-inch gap, and he goes. It's entirely the funniest credit sequence ever. I mean, I was like, what is that about? It's just like, do. I look really cool. I look really mean. Oh, I've got done by
Yeah, Matt, it really is. It's sort of like it's the literal translation of the title. Enter the ninja. So in he comes in his
Stage
white suit
left.
and kicks the guy that can actually do the martial arts. But when we
That
get
was
to
the
the
most
plot
stupid thing I've
proper,
ever
what I love, Matt,
seen.
is we're in the Philippines, so obviously that's the reason for the ninja camp. There is the Cannon Boys were filming nice and cheaply in the Philippines with all the goons and all the extras are all genuine Filipino people, which I think is great for them. But you know, this is where it's going to be set in a plantation, and I love the fact that because he's a ninja, when Franco Nero goes to visit his friend, which starts the proper because he's going to protect his plantation from the bad guys, he can't just ring the bell at the gate, can he? He climbs over this huge fence down the side, slides down, walks in with a big smile, and is met by his mate's wife, Susan George, the always gorgeous Susan George, with a shotgun. Now, can you imagine this film being made today? He grabs the gun, he spins her around. Matt, it's so obvious. He cops a feel of a
He
booby.
gropes her. He literally has a reach around.
And then when he has a good squeeze, he throws the gun, kicks her to the floor, and says, "Hi, I'm your husband's mate." You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
And the husband's up on the balcony watching all this going, hi. It's just like,
oh,
oh
there he
my
is.
word.
What a character that Cole is. All right, buddy. I mean, you just couldn't make it now, Matt.
Unbelievable. So we're there at the house. He's getting the lowdown. Now his mate, they used to be in the army together, or they used to fight together, sorry, get that right. They used to fight together, but he's getting a bit old now, or something, his injury. I can't quite remember exactly what it was. I was still crying from the credits.
Yeah, they were mercenaries in
There
Angola.
you go. There you go. So they were buddies together, but he can't. He doesn't move like he used to, and you know whatever. So now they've had dinner. All this. It's like the following morning or that afternoon. He goes. Mr. Nero goes off downtown with his wife, who he's just groped, and they end up in like this little shanty high street. Well, it's not a high street. Obviously, it's in the Philippines. It's a dirt track, and there's a guy called Dallas there. Was it Dallas? Yeah,
Yeah,
God, dollars, not Dallas, dollars,
dollars.
dollars,
Yeah, the dollar
dollars, dollars,
store.
dollars.
Yeah,
Who's the local fixer? You know, the one who can get you anything for the right amount of money and all that kind of stuff. However, across the road, there's a really tall dude, like massively tall dude, looked about 7 foot, and he's walking with a guy who's really short, which is probably why he looks quite tall, with a hook. And they go into the shop, and Franco Nero's kind of looking at what's going on there. He's not very happy about it. Oh, it's a bit dodgy. And Dollars go, oh, no, it's fine. We're used to it here. This is what happens, blah, blah, blah. So he goes, oh, okay. Turns around to carry on his business. And then Mr. Hook and the big super tall dude decide, now they've taken the money, because obviously they're taking protection racket money, they then decide to beat the guy up for no reason. He gave them money, but they beat him up anyway. So, of course, Mr. Franco Nero, close up on the eyes again, is not particularly happy about this. So he, wants to find out what's going on. However, Mr. Hook, or whatever his name is, let me just look it up. Oh, he's called The Hook. That is what he's titled at. So I'm just looking at what he's Zach.
yeah. They're not lazy. These Cannon
No,
Boys, I
they're
tell
not,
you,
are
they're
they? They're
not
really
lazy.
descriptive. It's quite easy. At least you know what you're getting into in the audition process. You're auditioning for The Hook. Anyway, Mr. The Hook clearly holding on to a thing because his lower wrist keeps moving, which is kind of odd. Comes over and in the most ridiculous Carry On film style German accent. I must come over here. I was like, oh. And we're going to come back to this repeating theme of Carry On because the soundtrack, we will get on to that later. The soundtrack, random. That's all I'm saying. Right. Anyway, so we get to it and we get our first bit of ninja action where Mr. Nero, sorts out the Mr. the Hook, ends up whacking him on wouldn't put anyway. He gets into a thing with the Hook guy. He's not very happy about it. Who goes back to his boss? Now his boss is Venerius, played by Christopher George. So
Now, Matt, Christopher George
mm,
was a very well respected actor, 60s, 70s, incredible career, worked with the likes of Big John Wayne.
mm,
And in fact, in terms of credibility, he's the biggest name in the movie. But like a
mm,
lot of guys from that generation, um, they found a second career when their real career, as they saw it, had faded in the B movies. You look at Canon films, you look at most straight to DVD, VCR movies of the 80s and 90s, and they're littered with big name character actors um, who have got a second wind in their career. But more importantly, as you'll agree with me here, like Christopher George, because of that, don't give a crap about what they're in. And he chews the scenery like he hasn't eaten for a month. Now, this is a great actor who realizes exactly what he's in, exactly what he's doing, and he doesn't give a toss. I lay you bets he turned up drunk every morning and just did his bit to take the money, because we're talking a quality man here who looks like he's in panto.
uh, and then some, especially with the foppish accents. The accents in this film are they're so they are so Carry On. They're either really plummy English, well, again, we'll get onto his
Oh,
henchman in
Mr.
a minute.
Parker, Mr.
Mr.
Parker.
Parker, yes, Mr. Parker, who sounds like he's come out of a Monty Python sketch. We'll get on to Mr. Parker in a minute. Um, yeah, so you got the Hook doing this ridiculous German accent. You've got ridiculous British accents going on. It's set in the Philippines with an Italian who's being overdubbed because his voice isn't great. You got Susan George, who's completely random in it. Well, no, she's the wife, obviously. No, no sort of background on her. She's just there for screaming and being caught a lot. And yeah, so this is where we're at now. Venerius is the man behind everything. He wants the plantation because there's probably oil or something underneath it. I can't quite remember what he said. So yeah, so there's stuff going on there. He needs the plantation, so they're trying to bully him out of it. So they send a bunch of ninjas, trying to keep it all undercover. But they send ninjas along to go and duff him up. But as they go to intimidate uh, his mate. He appears out of nowhere, obviously, ninja just appears. And he proceeds to take out 8 ninjas pretty much single handedly because his mate's no good because he just gets grabbed and he sort of throws a couple of punches because he's old now and he can't handle it. Whereas Mr. Nero, is just literally ending people left, right, and
But
centre.
here's the thing here, Matt, is we don't actually see them as ninjas, do we? I mean, he
They're in white
hires all
suits.
these
They're in
guys.
white suits. Yeah.
Yeah, and he hires all these guys. And for a film called Enter the Ninja, Franco Nero, the huge majority of the fight scenes throughout this movie never puts the gear on, doesn't
No.
go out at night. And as you said, that what follows basically is a series of him hiring these guys, and then Franco Nero taking them out because his mate, his wife explains, Susan George explains in one of her deep emotional moments in this film that ever since they put the squeeze on him, her husband's been drinking because he's not the man he was, and that's why he's ineffective. And that's why, obviously, she's going to take Franco into her bed eventually because he's Franco Nero and he's
Well,
Italian.
technically, he's in bed and she comes in, but
She comes in, yeah. But
that's
we've got to skip to when obviously they don't succeed, and our little Carry On character, Mr. Hook, who, as you said,
the
would look
hook.
perfect in the Carry On films, and they actually use him in that way. Let's be honest, don't we?
Mm.
They take the mickey out of him every moment they can, and he pulls the faces, he gurns. When he goes back and says, "We need some more men," I mean, hello, hello. It's, we need some more men. He's just this one man. When he recruits the Filipino guys, and how hard are they? And I need 10 men. I mean, it's how ridiculous is that, Matt? At the docks, you got all these guys. I just want 10. And are you hard enough?
Yeah, are you hard enough? So while he's going on with this, are you hard enough? This one goes, yeah, I am, and they duff him up. They literally just beat him up. He's the only one actually volunteering, and they do him over. Unfairly, I might add as well. So that was a bit stupid.
And they still recruit him. Do you
Yeah,
notice
they
he's
still
still one of the
recruit him,
10?
even though he's not very good. Yeah. Anyway, so again, we have a few more sort of. I'm going to skip bits because there
Yeah.
are elements later on we need to get to quick. But there's a bit in a bar where Franco Nero is in the bar and Susan George with him and his mates with him, and his mates recounting how great he feels because he had a dust up and he feels alive again. And then the Hook and his 7 foot mate are in there, and they start causing trouble. His mate doesn't do a thing apart from sort of stumble around. Frank Nero gets his hook, the Hook's hook, the Hook's hook, and whacks him into a pillar, into a wooden pillar, so he can't actually move. This is where you really see the whole going on with the wrist. I mean, it's just really funny. That bit is just really funny. But what I did sit and think was, did they do a homage to this in Bloodsport? Kickboxer, not Bloodsport, in Kickboxer, because it seems entirely reminiscent of the bar without the Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just like, I think they've been here before.
But I like the way you said we've got to skip this, Matt, because you've hit on something that you cannot hide in Enter the Ninja. The middle bits are so repetitive with the hordes of Filipino extras who must have loved the opportunity to work so much there. And I will say that the fight scenes, they're not rubbish in the sense that the switch from Franco to Mike Stone is quite seamlessly done. Give the boys credit there. And he knows, I mean, Stone knows how to kick and punch. But what I must laugh at is, as we did with the eyes earlier, so you see it's Franco, every cut ends with Franco turning to camera. And he looks like a 200 a day smoker at the end of every fight scene. If you notice, at the end of every fight scene, Franco Nero's like, and you're remembering this man's not young anymore. And there's an incredible. Do you remember when he's being chased by the one guy that doesn't know why he's chasing him?
Yeah.
He's just been sent by the boss. And it is Franco running, and it's just across a road. He turns the corner. I literally fear for him, thinking he's going to have a heart attack. He's just like, and then the guy turns the corner and he grabs him. Yeah. If you notice, on every sequence where it ends, it really looks as if, and I mean, it might not be funny because it might be true, but it looks like Franco, when it's the shots of him being him, is really struggling.
It is, it's hysterical. So, moving on swiftly, because we've kind of gone through this a bit. Now, I have to come to Shok Kosugi here, because there is a point in the film where another 16,000 ninjas attack the compound, and he is sent. They need to send the super ninja, because where's my ninja I have hired? It's like, what, that one over there in the black suit? Him over there. Where is my ninja? He's there, mate. He's literally standing next to you, and you're going, where is he? He's right there. Just send him. Anyway, so they send him. They send him to the compound. And again, this film has a lot of ridiculous moments, but this is just yet another one of those ridiculous moments. Now, Shok Kosugi is supposedly like super ninja, like even better than potentially than our white pajamaed friend from Italy. But he can't throw a throwing star for love nor money. I mean, literally, he throws about 4 of them. They all miss, every single one. Not even.
Do you know? I love the way he goes. Oh,
yeah, he's like, I can't throw. Like this. Anyway, they end up. So long and short of it, Shok Kosugi ends up kidnapping Susan George with the most ridiculous villain laugh ever.
Thank you. Oh, Matt, it's the moment, isn't it? You're thinking, this is Shok Kosugi. This guy is single-handedly salvaging the movie. And then the guys must have come up to him and said, Show, you're not villainous enough, because that laugh, as you said, and when he's burning, when the arms go out wide, I'm having such great fun here because I'm a villain. And it's just like, what have they done to you, Show? You know,
it was almost like when Robin Williams used to do that thing in Power. It was that. It's almost as if he obviously watching Robert Altman to try and get some acting tips or something, but watched the wrong Robert Altman film.
But
Um,
with Susan George, they did it as a close-up as well, didn't
yeah,
they?
yeah, and she's like, I don't know whether she's like going, there's somebody a worse actor than me here. So
I'm
anyway,
glad you said that because I love Susan George. I mean, she was a big star at the time. She was gorgeous. But to
Straw
me, she
Dogs.
was that generation's Liz Hurley.
Mm,
She was great to look at, but being honest, at most functional as an actress, you know.
functional. Good to be groped, apparently. But anyway,
Well,
moving swiftly on. Right. So anyway, so she gets kidnapped. The husband gets killed. Because Sho decides to kill him. Well, but we've also left out she's had an affair with Franco at this point, and the husband knows because he can't have children. But we don't even know she's pregnant at this point, so I don't really understand what's going on there.
and Matt, can we just say that this is hard because we need to cement the bond between the two with the
Yeah,
incredibly expensive Canon Angola flashback to the big war they were in there, where you see Franco Nero against a tree going, I've been hit. You
yeah.
see his mate turn up, you hear all the explosions, and one Angolan who his mate turns around and shoots, who falls off screen, and then he picks him up and he goes, I'm not leaving you here, buddy. And they go. And I'm thinking, only Cannon can give you a throwback to two mercenaries in a civil war and their elite bond and show just one soldier and no actual action. It was
Well,
economy of filmmaking at its absolute best.
well, clearly they spent all the budget on the Filipino ninja extras, so But I mean, that was the other part about it, right? It was clearly just filmed in another part of the Philippine forest, like sort of around the corner from where the opening was done. And the only difference is they're in combat fatigues, of course, but
That
that's
was it.
yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how we know they were mercenaries together. Anyway, so cut back. So now, of course, Mr. Nero's not very happy, so he has to go and rescue his now new girlfriend because she's not married anymore because he's dead. So yeah, just steal on there, and you don't see him sort of mourning for his friend at all. He's in fact, I don't think you even see him looking at his friend. I think he kind of just goes, hmm.
No, he goes for vengeance though.
Yeah,
You remember
obviously
he's got
from.
the mask on again
Oh
now,
yeah,
Matt,
so this is the point. He's going for vengeance, so he suits up in his little white ninja suit.
just
Um,
to make sure they can see him.
yeah, exactly, because it's night. So let's dress up in white so you won't. Anyway, I think ninjas are
Matt, no
meant to
matter
be
how many
visible.
times we explain that, I just can't get round it. I just
It's
can't.
done. I mean, see, when they did it in American Ninja, you got the feeling that if you were in a different coloured suit other than black, you were some kind of really good ninja. Because there were like yellow ones and blue ones, and you thought, oh, they're like proper ninjas. The black ones are just like your worker ant jobs. And then you've got blue ninja. So yeah, so and Michael Dudikoff is Yellow Ninja. So anyway, we're getting off the point here. But he's running around in white, which you just think is really stupid. I mean, clearly they're just trying to discriminate. White is good, black is bad. That's kind of where I got to with it. Anyway, so he runs into what I thought looked like a cattle shed, but it's got like the first ever pride ring in it with a perspex thing
Yeah, I
like
think it is.
bottom.
You're right. I think it's an indoor cattle market, and they just stuck a ring in it.
Yeah, that's how it came across me. Anyway, so you've got Franco going around taking out all these people rather simply with all these little weapons and arrows and all this kind of nonsense. He does about 30
Matt,
blows.
there's a little thing here that will excite you if you hadn't already seen it. All the little guys he takes out. You know, when he goes upstairs and he throws the bombs and he kills
Yeah,
two, one of the guys walks the other way with his gun out straight, looking straight ahead. And Nero, do you remember he pulls him over the balcony,
yeah.
strangles him, pulls him over the balcony? It's Michael Dudikoff.
Is it?
It's
All right, see now I'm gonna have
Dudikoff.
to go back and watch that because I've never noticed that.
Nobody does, and he's not credited, but it's
Oh,
Michael Dudikoff, the
oh, that
American ninja himself,
not
looking
very.
slightly chubbier. Hair's still
Oh,
wonderful, but watch it again, and it's unmistakable.
the
And I'm
blonde
thinking,
dude. Yeah,
oh
must.
my goodness,
There we go.
what a beautiful transition that the American ninja,
You realise when I
when
come to
he's
see it on there, I'm going to have to
reincarnated.
go and try and find that clip just to
You
put in.
have to because once you see it, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But I wonder,
Oh, there we
yeah.
go. So everybody who's Enter Ninja fans, did you know that? Let us know below. Anyway, so yeah, so he's doing over all these blokes, right? And he's down to the last couple. He takes out. I think the hook's been done over at this point. Oh no, the hook hasn't. No, because we
He's
see him at
buggered
the end.
off. He got
Yeah,
sacked and he was
he's run away,
happy
isn't he? Yes, because he turns up at the end. So yes, so he's down
because
to
they were making Carry On Peter Pan, and
yeah, that
he
was
was
it. Yeah,
ready
he was
for
straight
that.
in, wasn't he? Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Captain Hook, yes. I know. Anyway, so we're down to the henchman, the Monty Python henchman, um,
Parker.
Parker. Hello,
Parker.
Parker. Oh, I've been caught. I mean, literally, again, this was the
Yes.
point. He goes full Monty Python at this point. He goes, "Oh, I've been caught by the ninja. Oh, are you going to save me, man?" And his boss just goes, "No."
No.
And he falls down the stairs because he's been. Oh, I've fallen like this down the stairs. At this point, I'm losing the will to live because it's just so ridiculous at this point.
But Matt, just to make sure you're killed off,
Yeah,
Christopher George goes, I want my black ninja and I want him now.
yeah,
Just to make sure you're not going to survive this.
yeah, and he does over his henchman because he's rubbish. So he shoots him. So he's done. Anyway, so then Nero, just before the Black Ninja turns up with his stupid maniacal laugh, he's actually in the basement chasing Susan George because they clearly didn't tie her up or anything. They just let her wander around. She's having a stroll around. I know she's looking at next week's, the list of cows that they're getting in or something for the next auction or whatever. I don't know. She's wandering around, and Shok Kosugi's sort of dodging behind white pillars. He's dressed in black. Literally, they've got them the wrong way round. Anyway, now, before we get to that, so then we've got the big boss and Frank Nero. Frank Nero just does away with the boss, and it was just like, oh, 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 that's it then, is it? He's
And he says to Show, that's the way to throw a star, Show. Hey, this is how you do it, son. You just go
it
ping.
just it just does him over. At this point, he could just leave. It wouldn't
Yes.
matter. He could just go. I mean, I know St. George's in the basement, but she's wandering around. It doesn't matter. He could just go. Anyway, so he starts shouting out, and the Black Ninja comes out, and he has some additional respect because he killed the boss who's paying him his wages. Don't get that. Anyway, he tells Susan George to run, so off she goes. And him and the Black Ninja get into the Pride Ring for the final showdown, which is what, let's be honest, that's what you're paying to see. You want to see two ninjas full on go at it in a ring, no rules, swords, weapons, throwing stars you can't throw. And there is, to be fair, that final battle is pretty damn good.
The only thing I find funny about that, Matt, is it's the first time they introduce it in the movie. And through the 80s afterwards and the plethora of ninja films we see is when rather than step back, you can do 14 backflip somersaults to create the space between you and your partner, which suddenly hey, Franco Nero is suddenly capable of every 3 or 4 seconds in that fight.
Yes,
Suddenly these
without getting out of
multiple
breath.
backflips. Yeah, and then back to him wheezing underneath there, thinking I've got to cut out the fags. Suddenly he does all these backflips. But you're right, in terms of choreography, it's one of the two main fights that they get sort of right,
Yeah.
you know.
However, however, during all of this, and pretty much any fight sequence in the film, they put on the soundtrack, which I swear was an offcut from a Carry On film. It's so out of place to everything else that is going on. I mean, it's like even Benny Hill would have gone, yeah, no, I'm not having that.
Nah.
Having that. It's like ding, ding, this kind of stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? Surely it should be like, dun, dun. No, no, no. Ding, 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 click, ding, bong, ding, boom, ding, bong. They must have gone to the non-copyright factory and just picked up the first, well, it wouldn't have been a CD then, would have been a tape cassette that they found and just thought, yeah, that'll do, whack that in. But yeah, so fight goes on, and of course, Mr. Nero comes out as the great victor. Shok Kosugi's like, he begs to die with honor. So he does, he kills him rather than just walk off and go, no, live in the greater shame of the fact that I beat you, the one you didn't like. No, he actually ends him. and then that's sort of it. It just sort of ends.
except for the really super cool superstar ending, walking to camera, breaking the fourth wall. Come
Oh,
on, Matt.
the fourth wall bit, yes.
The wink,
Wink.
the Nero wink for all his Euro fans.
Oh,
Eh?
and that's fine. And the final scene is where he's oh, where is he? Is he at the port or is he at the airport or somewhere?
The airport.
At the airport, and then who's there doing all the carting taxis around? It's the Hook! I am back! I've come back for the finale. Oh, it's the Ninja Man. I'm going. Bye bye.
It's great,
And then
isn't it?
Mr. Nero, one eye.
And it freezes for him, freeze frame. All those middle-aged European women. Oh, I tell you.
Out of
But
breath.
Matt, let's be honest, this is what Get to the Chedda's all about. I mean, even with rose-tinted glasses, you look at it and you go, oh my God. But at the time, in its time and place, it was groundbreaking. And it was one of those films that moved the genre on. We
Mm.
would have got no Pray for Death, Shok Kosugi, no Nine Deaths of the Ninja, no American Ninja
Mm.
without this movie. And when you look at it,
American Ninja
to
2, 3,
me,
4,
it just
5,
shows the
6.
genius of the
Yeah,
Canon guys. I mean,
yeah.
we laugh about it, but like Roger Corman, they made films, they made money, they didn't care what people said, and they were still forging things forward. And really, the whole B movie genre of that type of ninja movie, with as you said, with the running with the swords, and the fact that the ninjas were absolutely incredible and amazing until they actually had to fight, um, was all from this movie with
Mm.
a European star whose English wasn't great, who was good looking, but obviously the wrong side of the age for really playing that part. In the Philippines, with loads of extras, the ninja action in it is actually across the full running time minimal, and yet we've got a whole genre started.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate what it did for the genre. Absolutely. I mean, from stealing the Enter the Dragon and changing the word dragon to ninja to make people go ninja like that. And then there were the two sequels. There was Return of the Ninja, which interestingly coincided with a certain science fiction film, which may have had Return of the in the title for those. Yeah, and may also have had a combatant who had special skills. Return of the Jedi, for those of you who are not keeping up. And then there was Ninja 3 Annihilation.
Domination
Yeah,
with a
Domination.
female ninja, got a
Yeah,
big cult following as well.
yeah. So this ad hoc kind of trilogy of ninja films that Canon produced. So yes, I can appreciate what it gave us. I can't appreciate what it put in front of us. But yeah, it's clearly there's our generation that were raised on ninja films and stuff like that. I to be quite honest, I came into the ninja thing from American Ninja. So but as we just said, there's no American Ninja without Enter the Ninja. So, I can appreciate it. It was it. If I'd have watched it 20 years ago, I'd have probably gone, "This is brilliant." Maybe a bit longer now. I'm a bit older now, but I'd probably go, "Oh yeah, yeah." But
Well, you
no,
see, I was 20 in the cinema training at the time. Was that karate or taekwondo? So I was just trying to eat up every single martial arts movie that came our way. And do you know that there's a certain naivety about the times. As I grew older, and as you know, I became an actual martial arts movie film reviewer for Combat Magazine.
mm,
So then became my job to be more critical. But when I'm just sat there in a cinema that is full of smoke because everybody could smoke in the cinema at that time, and you're all just sat there laughing, I never ever thought, it never crossed my 20-year-old mind that Franco Nero was being doubled by Mike Stone. I went out there thinking, do you know what? Fair play to that Italian geezer. He's still fit.
yeah, he can properly handle
He
himself.
can
Yeah,
proper handle himself, you know.
yeah,
And it's only obviously as it becomes your job and you look into things and you become more worldly wise. But that's the great thing about these films that we're looking at, Matt. The time they were made and the time we were watching them, in many ways, were far more innocent. But that's why people look through this period of film history with those rose-colored glasses. I mean, it's because, for me, they were much easier, more fun times where things like Us would never happen. The critics would not take it apart scene by scene, frame by frame, and modern audience wouldn't go, "Oh my god, you could tell he's longer, taller, shorter." We just enjoyed the film and the night
Yeah.
out, and it was cheap.
Although, see, here's the thing. So you got into, and again, I know Canon were low budget and they just knocked these things out. The thing was, because I was sitting there when I was watching it, going right, okay, and I always check out the sort of films that are out around the same time or within a few years of that. And one of the films that came out a couple of years after that was Big Trouble in Little China. Now,
Mm,
Big Trouble in Little China, that was a martial arts film. That, I mean, granted, it was on a bigger budget. It was John Carpenter, Kurt Russell. It was great. But the fighting sequences in that film, which didn't really feature Kurt Russell because he couldn't fight, and they
no.
made jokes of that. That's why he had the gun and all that kind of stuff. Um, that's next level compared to with Enter the Ninja. But I get it. Enter the Ninja was designed for VHS for somebody to go in on a Friday night, Saturday night into or as you saw in the cinema, but the VHS age of Enter the Ninja, because that's where it became a really big hit. It was on VHS. It was one of those films because it had an 18 certificate or X. I can't remember if it was still X at that point. It was probably just
And
in.
the VHS cover map was again the thing that made you laugh so much at the beginning was it was like the ninja star background blue.
Yeah,
Um, Franco Nero doing a jump sidekick in his white outfit, but they left the hat off, the helmet off, and it was him.
yeah,
Obviously airbrushing and technique, but when you saw the actual cover, it was this fantastic flying sidekick with Franco Nero's face,
yeah,
which looks great on a shelf.
yeah. So the actual original poster, so did my little bit of research between watching this. The original poster had Shok Kosugi in the Black Ninja outfit on it, and they got in a bit of trouble, weirdly enough, because the focus was on Nero's White Ninja, and so they had to change the poster and
Yeah,
put Nero's White Ninja on it, which is really quite random. I mean, it's almost as bad as the trailer, because again, when we decide on the films, especially something like this that I hadn't actually seen, I go and watch the trailer first just to sort of warm myself into what I'm about to let myself in for. The trailer is as nonsense as the rest of it as well, because the trailer is basically first there was jujitsu, big trailer man voice. I could
mm.
get work doing that. Second was karate, with the real te that they do. Now, the latest martial art from the Far East is here. This magical and mysterious ninjutsu. Enter the Ninja. I was like, what? Why don't you show me some of the film? I don't care about the word ninjutsu. It doesn't even make sense to me at this point. So, but yeah, everything about this film is absolutely bonkers. Yet everybody in the era latched onto it, like you're saying. It's a massive cult hit still to this day. Um, but yeah, so
So to finish up then, Matt, as we
what's
always
your
do,
cheese rating? Because
cheese rating. I mean, cheese rating is through the roof. But in terms of actual how it stands the test of time, I'm generously, if I give it a three, if I give it a three, I'm
you know what?
generous.
I'm two or three. I mean, this film makes Hard to Kill, which we absolutely slaughtered, look good. Um,
Yes,
so yeah, yeah, no, this is not a film I'm gonna. This sits in the same bucket as Invasion USA. It's not a film I'm gonna revisit. I will, but not unless I'm really, really bored or I just need to cheer myself up. And I'll just watch the opening credits because that's the biggest laugh I've had in years. So yeah, yeah, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Nero. The film is bad, and it doesn't stand up other than the final fight sequence, which is pretty good. But I'm not going to watch 90 minutes to get to that.
I
So,
agree, Matt.
yeah. So there we have it. Now, before we go, we obviously need to let you know what is going to be our next episode. And unlike last time where we lied to you and told you it was going to be American Ninja and it's turned out to be the Ninja, this time we're not going to lie to you. This time we are, because I simply, after Enter the Ninja, I needed to pick me up. Quite seriously, I needed to pick me up. So we are going for drum roll. We are going for Rowdy Harrington's Roadhouse, which you will see on the very
Woohoo!
next episode. Now, this
Oh
this
yeah.
particular favourite of mine, so it's not going to be slaughtered so much. Although there are a few things in it I picked up on the other day. But yes, so thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow us. We are now on Spotify as well. So if you're following us, you can watch or listen to it on Spotify as well as YouTube. Make sure you sign up, press all the follow buttons, all that kind of stuff. Tell your friends about us. If you didn't like us, tell your friends about us, because there's no such thing as bad publicity. Anyway, I have been Matt Bourne. This has been Malcolm Martin, and we will see you on the very next episode of Get to the Cheddar. Goodbye.
Be nice.
Be a ninja.
Ninja!